Welcome to Monster Monday. So, we are going to start a series here. Now, I know I started the Fly series and I was going to do that from week to week, but I'm putting it on hiatus. I will get to it though. But I want to do something that I know people are going to be interested in, and that is George A. Romero's Living Dead franchise, starting with Night of the Living Dead. Now, I find it interesting that they're referred to as ghouls in this movie and not zombies. But I've said many times that zombies is that one subgenre, one monster subgenre, where, people are aware of what vampires are. They're aware of what werewolves are, but they never know what zombies are. They're always like, what are these things? They never say zombies. I mean, it's rare. Every once in a while you do get it. It's like some character will be like, what are you fucking talking about? Are we talking about zombies here? So it's never self-aware, but werewolf and vampire movies always are. So I always found that to be very, very odd. But in this film, and I don't think anywhere in the Romero films is the word zombie mentioned. I could be wrong on that. It's been a long, long time since I've watched these, especially. I've only ever seen the last two once, I think. Survival of the Dead and Dire of the Dead, I've only seen those once. Land of the Dead, I've probably seen twice. And then Night of the Living Dead, watched all the way through. Not a ton. Maybe 2 or 3 times, this probably being the third time. This is not a film I've watched a lot. Another one, Dawn of the Dead, I've seen a good amount. I've seen that one a fair amount of times. And Day of the Dead, I haven't seen a ton either. But I did just pick up the Scream Factory Day of the Dead, and when it came, I was like, I'm doing these movies. I have everything. I had Day of the Dead, I had a DVD on it, but I wanted the good transfer. And I really want to see how that thing holds up, because people love that fucking movie, and there's always this argument on what's the best one in the trilogy, and a lot of my friends are just like, Day of the Dead is the best zombie movie ever made. And then of course there's people who say Dawn is, and then there's other people who say Night is. So it's the end, never ending. But I mean, how many franchises have that kind of argument going on in them? What's the best of the subgenre? They're all three in this, and what's the best of the three and all that. So this is a very beloved trilogy. Obviously, I'm going to do both trilogies. I'm going to do the first 3 and then the last 3. But let's dive into Night of the Living Dead. All right, so we've got this film, which is a public domain release at this point. It's been public domain for many, many years. So you've seen this film in many, many collections. You see it thrown in. It's like a bonus feature on a lot of things. They're like, oh, and here's Night of the Living Dead as well. Like, we'll just throw that on. I can't tell you how many different versions I've seen of this movie, because anybody can print it. Anybody can. I think you have to secure the rights through the public domain for like $500 or something. I'm not really sure how that works, but everyone seems to do it and sells it. But the Criterion Collection one that was just released, I wanted to pick it up because I knew this was going to be the definitive release of this. Now, there is a colorized version, and I actually own that, and the reason I own it is because Mike Nelson from Mystery Science Theater 3000 does a commentary track on it, doing a Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of riff on the film. And I've watched some of that, but that's the colorized version, and the colorized version's interesting. I mean, I know people don't like that, but I find it interesting. To have both as an option, I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, so this is essentially what started. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I sure as shit don't know everything, and nor does anybody. But to my knowledge, this is the film that was the blueprint for what became the modern zombie. Like, Walking Dead type zombie, whatever. Before this, and as I said, please correct me if I'm wrong, but before this, what I'm aware of is that any movie that featured zombies in it, it was always some voodoo ritual, and they were nothing like this. This is like back from the dead of their own accord. Now, in this one, and I'm going to be very curious to see how much these films really play into each other. Like, if there's absolutely any connection, because this calendar on the wall that they're in says it's 1968 or 67, 68, somewhere in that era. And Dawn of the Dead's clearly in 78. So I'm assuming that either they're just like outright ignoring this one, or they're saying like, oh, they contained that one and now it's broke out again. But as far as this film's concerned, and I didn't even remember this until I was watching it. I was like, oh wow, this is what they went with as an explanation. There was a probe sent out to Venus, and when the probe came back, it was carrying a high level of radiation. And that's what, made one of the cadavers come to life. And then, of course, the virus spread from there. So radiation from space is their explanation within this one. I like the one in Dawn of the Dead. It's kind of like the tagline for it: when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. I love that, man. I love, like, enough people have died at this point. Now they're sending them back. Like, there's enough people in hell. We're sending them back, and then now you're just gonna have, ghouls walking the earth. Is there a difference between a ghoul and a zombie? I mean, I don't know what the description of a ghoul is. To me, a ghoul was always like supernatural in the sense of like almost like a ghost. That's always what I kind of thought a ghoul was. Maybe not. I don't really know what I thought a ghoul was. I have like a picture in my mind, and that's mostly just because of that video game, Ghouls and Ghosts. I could tell a long story. I'm not going to do it right now. Of Super Ghouls and Ghosts on Super NES, but that game can go fuck itself. It ruined my damn life. But yeah, I don't even know what a ghoul is. But in this movie, that's what they refer to them as. So technically, this is a ghoul movie, not a zombie movie. But in the later films, it's very much a zombie film. So, all right. So we get the famous opening here, which anytime I see this or hear the music from it, I'm immediately going to think of Halloween 2. Now, this film has been featured in plenty of films. It's because it's free or very little to put it into your film. Everyone uses it because it's a classic film and it's public domain. So fuck it, why not put it in there? And Halloween 2 did this. I feel like Halloween 2 could have afforded a better movie to put in there. When I say better, I mean like a different movie is what more I mean. I will say this though. This film, and I say this a lot, but this film came out today, people would not love it. Let's just say that. That's for damn sure. This is not a timeless film as far as like character decisions, mostly the character decisions, stupid things that they do, and the way that action is portrayed and the fighting and all that. It's just really hammy. It's really silly. But this is like the low budget film. Like, this is the ultra low budget cinema that kind of sparked what would become like Halloween and Friday the 13th and all that stuff. Like, these little nobody filmmakers just went out with their camera and made this cult hit. And I don't know how many films did that at that time, but I can't imagine many, and I can't imagine many were successful. You had like Manos: The Hands of Fate, speaking of Mystery Science Theater 3000, that was clearly done like this, super ultra low budget, just like guerrilla filmmaking. But that did not turn out very well, and this has stood the test of time. This movie is, freaking like 52 years old now. So, yeah, I mean, this is no comparison. But, yeah, so we get the famous opening in the graveyard with Johnny and Barbara. They're coming to get you, Barbara. That's such a great soundbite. Like, I feel like that's one of the greatest horror sound bites there is. I can't think of one off the top of my head that would be like more iconic. Definitely can think of something that would be as iconic. Like, he had the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, or, all sorts of things. Was that the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, it was. All that stuff. Like, yeah, I could take something from Halloween. I could take something from this and that. But that is the line from this movie. and it is an extremely important piece of cinema, like a soundbite and a video clip. You could take the most famous moments in horror history, most famous lines, whatever, and that would be there. I mean, I could see it being number one. I mean, it's as iconic as literally anything else. We're going to need a bigger boat, whatever. You put it against any line. I mean, tell me a fucking line that's more synonymous with horror. I don't know of any. Now, that being said, would it be that synonymous with casual people, like just the general audience? Probably not. So maybe I should say for the horror community, people who actually know horror, that's an extremely iconic line. Other lines might be well known, like the "Hello Clarice," which is a misquoted line, but regardless, if you say that, almost anybody's gonna be like Silence of the Lambs, even if they haven't seen it. But I just think They're Coming to Get You, Barbara, for horror fans, is like top tier line, and I love it. I love the way Johnny says it. I love the way that scene. I love the way the music kicks in. That's my favorite part of the movie, for sure. The graveyard sequence could be a short film, and I would love it. I'm not saying I don't like the rest of the movie. I absolutely do. I just think it's a fantastic opening. It's seriously a fan-fucking-tastic opening. It's my favorite part of the entire film, for sure. But now, this ghoul or zombie that's coming after them runs. The rest of the fucking film, none of them run. So I don't know if that was like filmed and then they were like, we need to readjust this. Like, they can't all run, so we'll just leave that in. But let's just not talk about that one again. That was a weird choice to have him run and then the rest of them not run. I don't really understand that. And then they're so strong. Like, zombies are typically not very consistent. Like, sometimes they're super slow and they're super weak and they just kind of grab and they look like, they couldn't even, have enough grip strength to pull you down. But then, some will grab a hold of them and these people cannot fight them off. And that's what's happening with Barbara here, and even Johnny when he comes to her rescue, because he plays a gag on her, like, they're coming to get you. Like, weren't you scared of these things? Like, I'm gonna pretend like this guy's a monster, and it's almost like his imagination makes it a reality, which is interesting, idea to throw out there, but obviously isn't what happened. That all being said, the fight between him, the zombie is super strong. And in fact, Harry even says that they flipped over his car. So these zombies are seriously, seriously strong. Stronger than a lot of the zombies in the rest of this franchise and even in this film. Like, they're just inconsistent. Like, some are super strong and some of them are just kind of like weakly, I don't know. So I don't really have any rhyme or reason on that one. I can tell you that Barbara, who's only 23 years old in this movie, cute chick, but my good God, man, is this chick fucking useless in this movie? She is such a useless character, which I think is kind of an interesting subversion of expectations. Like, there's this expectation, although at this time I don't know if there was like a final girl trope. There really wasn't. But regardless, I guess there kind of was in like monster movies, and this is a monster movie. So yeah, if you look at like any of the old monster movies where the woman is like the damsel in distress is screaming. Although I feel like that's typically their role, is just to kind of be, scared, and then the big man will come in. And in fact, this man happens to be a black man, which I think I saw an interview with Romero talking about that, and he was like, we weren't really trying to push any kind of like civil rights agenda or anything. He just gave the best read. Like, we liked him the best, so we gave him the role, which is exactly what should happen. There shouldn't have to be affirmative action. There shouldn't have to be any of this shit. Like, he's the best man for the job. He's the best, he's the best actor. He's the best fireman. He's the best fire. Like, yeah, take that guy. He's the best one. Let's just take him. We don't have to worry. You can have 100 fucking black guys, or 100 white guys, or 100 Asian guys, or a mixture of a bunch. Like, as long as it's the best one of each. But unfortunately, that's not how things work. and there's typically usually 100 white guys on the force because you're like, there's racism and shit going on. So like you have to do these things, but that's not what should have to be done. It should just be like, hey, you're the best man for the job. We're taking you. End of discussion. And I don't want to hear it, even if I pick 10 out of 10 are white. They were the best men. Like, I'm not gonna fucking fight you on this. These are the best qualified people, and I wish that was the world we live in. But I wish a lot of things that aren't true. We get to see the woman at the top of the stairs who has been completely mangled, which I'll get more into my feelings on that when it comes to the Dawn of the Dead, because zombies really make no sense to me. I don't understand why they ever stop eating and how bodies are even left. Like, why are there so many zombies out there? Like, once they have a body on the ground, wouldn't they just continue to keep eating it until it was gone? So if they were to do that, then there wouldn't be a zombie to get up from there. So that never makes any sense to me, but whatever. Because I see it as like one gets bit and then they run and then they turn into a zombie. And I guess you could say that's what it was. That's how they're getting numbers up. But once their numbers are up, once there's 20 of them, it shouldn't really grow from there. Because they'd grab one person and then they just kind of devour that person. And then they grab another person and they just devour that person. And they'd be so busy devouring people that people wouldn't, they'd never have a chance. They'd be able to come up and just shoot them in the head as they were devouring. Zombies don't make any sense. I try not to overthink zombies too much, but it's really hard because zombies are really, really dumb. Really, really dumb villains. Unless they're fast zombies. And unless they're just there to bite you and spread their infection. Because I've seen that done. I've seen that where it's just like, I want to spread the infection and I'm not here to eat. I'm here to spread the infection and I'm fast as fuck. Now, those zombies would destroy the planet quickly. But these kinds of zombies wouldn't last a week. Like, this little militia that goes out for him would be able to take them out 100%. Within, like, he's like, can you get this done in 24 hours? And he's like, I don't know, maybe. And it's like, yeah, they probably could. 24 hours, yeah. If they had enough guys out there with guns, these things are slow. They're dumb. They're not going to hide. But then they're inconsistent, too, because... like, sometimes they're just walking and then sometimes they're running, and then sometimes it's the daughter and the little girl in this, and then she grabs, is it like a trowel or whatever the hell you call that gardening tool, and she stabs her mom to death with it. So she picks up a weapon and starts stabbing her mom. No other zombie does that in this film or any other film that I'm aware of in this franchise. So like it's so inconsistent. It's so inconsistent. And I love how when they show her mom, the tool is right in her chest and there's no other stab marks anywhere on her. So that little girl had perfect aim. She just kept stabbing her in the exact same spot over and over and over again. So stupid that there's not one extra stab mark anywhere on her body. But whatever. Barbara is mentally completely wrecked from just the jump, and she does nothing throughout the rest of the film. Even so much so that she tries to run out of the house, which will either get her killed or get Ben killed as well. And then she tries to hit Ben, and Ben just smacks her to try to break her out of this frenzy. Whatever the hell's going on? She's hysterical. And he's like, you're going to get yourself killed. So I know a lot of people look at that scene like, oh, look, he's manhandling her or something. No, the fuck he's not. She is trying to get herself killed. She's hitting him. This is his time to smack her and be like, yo, what in the fuck? Calm down, Now, he is not exactly the most compassionate. Like when she's trying to tell him the story about her brother, he's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. He doesn't give a shit at all. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. The dude has a lot on his mind, so this isn't exactly the time. So I totally understand why he's like that, but he's definitely not compassionate. And I always see that people point out that he's hitting her or something, and I'm like, dude, he's hitting her for a reason, okay? I would almost never say that typically. There's not a lot of reasons to hit a woman. This was one of them. Barbara definitely needed to be smacked. No doubt about it. So give him a break, all right? Anyway. And the fighting in this just looks so poor, but that's to be expected in a film like this. I don't hold that as a negative at all in the film. Zombies are afraid of fire in this, much like Frankenstein's monster, so I don't know if that plays into the rest of the films. We'll see. if these are even connected in any way. I don't think they are. But yeah, we shall see. It was interesting to look into the credits and to find out that the guy who plays Johnny in this was actually one of the dudes who wrote Return of the Living Dead. I thought that was a really cool piece of information I had no idea about. And I already went over all that. I did kind of find this funny. This is not on purpose, I don't think, but I did find it funny that Ben slaps Barbara, which knocks her out. I don't think it knocks her out. She just is like passes out from shock, I guess. She's like, oh my God, now I'm being hit. Oh, can't believe it. But like he hits her and then he brings her a brand new pair of shoes. Typical man, beating up your girlfriend and then fucking bringing her presents. I just found that funny when he brings her new shoes after she wakes up. Like, sorry for hitting you, babe. Here's some shoes. They're not boyfriend and girlfriend, I'm well aware. I'm just saying. For the joke's purpose, that was kind of funny to me. I like that she's down in the house and she screams out loud. Ben's upstairs and he actually hears it and comes down and actually tries to help. Thank you. Because I've seen too many of these movies where someone's screaming in the house and then somebody's on the other side of the house and there's like, they don't acknowledge or don't hear them at all. And it's like, what is this house made of? Like, what is in these walls that's blocking all this sound? It happens in tons of movies. I've talked about it in plenty of reviews in the past. So he even points it out. He's like, I'll be upstairs. If you scream, I'll hear you. And he sure as shit does. Then we get all the other characters who come up, Harry and his wife and so on and so forth. And they all come up and they're fighting over the cellar, which of course ends up being super ironic because Ben is the person who does not want to go down in that basement and who ends up in that basement at the very end all alone, Ben. So I think that's really fun. I think that's cool that they have that kind of irony to it. And then the zombies, they're inconsistent in their look too. Some look like zombies, some don't. Like some just look like regular people. And they're just like, oh. And then there's even a naked chick in this, and you even get to see tits. I couldn't believe to see tits in this movie. In 1968, pretty surprised to see tits in a movie. It's only for a second. Much like Airplane's jello jiggling titties. But they're in here. And I was like, whoa. Okay, interesting. And Harry, or no Harry, is a total dick. And even pretty much almost gets Ben killed. I find it fucking crazy that Ben like grabs the gun from him, the rifle from him, takes it, turns it around on him, and points it at him, and actually shoots him. I was shocked by that. And he dies from his wound. Like, that blew my mind. Or at least passes out, and then the daughter brings him back to life with the bites. But he just turns the gun on him and shoots him. That was good. Typically it would be like, you stay back or whatever. And it's like, no, man, Ben means fucking business here. Now, Judy and her boyfriend come up, and Judy's a total babe. I don't know how old she is. But, and then her boyfriend, they go out to the gas pump, which I guess this house has a gas pump. How many houses have gas pumps? I'm sure that's a thing, like on a farm or something. They need them for like the tractors and this and that. But a fucking gas pump on your residence? Usually you only see that at like rich people's houses where they like have a gas pump down at their boat or something. But gas pump at your own house. That's crazy. But yeah, they go out and they find the gas key, which ends up not working, which I don't really understand the purpose of that. I guess it's just to kind of add more dilemma to the movie. Like, oh my God, and then Ben shoots it. Don't shoot a gas pump, okay? Not a good idea. Don't shoot at a gas pump. And another thing, they've proved this on Mythbusters, you can't shoot a lock off. Like when they shoot the locks in movies and they like hit the thing and it breaks open, that just doesn't work. I mean, maybe it would, but shooting at a gas tank would not be a good idea regardless. But I've seen them do this, and it's like if you shot into the lock, it still won't open. And then if you try to shoot like the thing, like it just kind of slides past, it doesn't work. But I see it in so many movies. So it takes so long for this dude to get that truck started. I didn't write his name down. Can't remember what the hell his name is. But he takes so long to get this truck started. The girl runs out there. She's like, I can't leave him. And so she runs out. They get in the truck. They pull away, which takes an hour for them to do for some reason. And then the dumbass freaking takes the thing out, and the gas is pouring everywhere. He catches the truck on fire, and then I guess he tries to drive the truck away so that it won't blow up. But then his girlfriend gets stuck in the car, so it blows up. Poor guy, because he's like a really cool dude. Like, I like that kid. He's just, total idiot when it comes. But he's frazzled. He's scared. He's trying to move quick, and shit happens. And he probably should not have gotten back in the truck, but he tried to move it away from the gas pumps so that the gas pumps wouldn't blow up too. But yeah, it definitely did not go well for him and his girlfriend. And then the zombies, or the ghouls in this, get some cooked meat. So they get some charred couple. That's what's on the menu for them. And then we get to see them eaten, which is obviously like, meat from animals. Like, it's like, my phone keeps running out of memory, and it's driving me absolutely insane. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Good thing I have to edit this thing anyway to put the Monster Monday thing at the beginning. So, oh well, it is what it is. So yeah, the car blows up. They get to eat some fried meat there, and then they get into the big fight. Coming back in, he shoots him, goes down in the basement cellar. The militia shows up and kills everybody and shoots him. It's a super grim ending, and it's even like when the credits are rolling, they like show this hook and pull gang where they grab them and pull them outside and throw them on the fire with all these other bodies, and that plays during the credits, and it's like snapshots of it. It looks like a fucking lynching or something. It's really dark, man. It's a really dark ending, and I'm just like, damn, this that's a grim ass ending. But a good one. I mean, it's poignant, but it's good. I mean, it's it's dark and it's somber, and it's not typically what you got around that time. So I really liked that about it. Of course, I would rather have Ben have lived. And then even freaking Barbara herself gets pulled outside by Johnny and killed by her own brother, which is another ironic moment in the film. And the other thing that's crazy is that the militia will never even know they killed him. I will say this, though. In this situation, this would be the best time to go out. Like, if you have any enemies and you want them dead and you want to cover that up and whatever, you go out, you find them, and you kill them. And you'd be like, they were a zombie. Reminds me of the Simpsons episode when they're like, Dad, you just killed the zombie Flanders. And he's like, he was a zombie? That's like seriously one of the funniest lines ever. Like, I don't think people ever pay attention to that line enough, because Homer just straight up said that he murdered his neighbor. Like, he was like, oh, I didn't know he was a zombie. I just murdered my neighbor because I wanted to shoot him with a shotgun. That's so dark for a cartoon. Well, like a cartoon like that. Simpsons, which is pretty family friendly. But yeah, I mean, the militia will never know that they killed this guy. And as I said, they could go out and kill anybody they wanted and be like, they were a ghoul. I mean, prove me wrong. So, yeah. And then they burn the bodies. So it's like, he was a ghoul, I burned his body. What are you going to do? Take a test? You can't take a test on his fucking burnt, like, bones. So, yeah, I mean, that would be a good movie, man. Have it during the zombie outbreak, and then, like, people going out and, getting vengeance and killing people. Keep it, like, small in, like, a certain town. I could write that movie. That'd be cool. Anyways, I got to go pick up my kids. I'll see you next Monday.